What's up YouTube, it's Alex here again. Thank you for watching this whole series. This is gonna be deal number 6. This one, I bought it long distance like I have been for a while now. It's gotten really easy. I learned a really valuable lesson on how to rely on your team and how to not over rely on yourself. I'm gonna tell you all about that. And I learned, well, the hard way, the #1 rule of real estate while I was over relying on the second rule of real estate. I'm gonna tell you all the details. I bought the house long distance. I made a killing. Real estate couldn't be easier. Okay, what was interesting about this deal was this was the first deal that I had done after my big Biggerpockets podcast, which I did in 2017. So from then, because I told everybody in the world that I was buying in Fayetteville, North Carolina, the investor pool, like it was insane how many people hit me up and asked me how to invest in my market to do what I do. They wanted my team, they wanted everybody, and since I'm so effing charitable, I pretty much gave everything away and made my life a lot harder, but I like doing it because I'm so nice, but it did make buying houses much more difficult. So I searched for a little while and I found this house. I kind of passed on it. You know, we keep a spreadsheet of all our deals, so I passed on a lot of them, but I passed on this one originally, and because it was a little bit smaller than I liked and it was a little bit more expensive than I am used to. And I kind of, you know, I wasn't that excited about it, so I just kind of moved on. Also, by the way, between the last deal and this deal, I switched realtors. People ask me all the time how I created such a great team, and I'll go over that in a video later, but the fact is, I've been through a lot of people, and you will too. So, the new realtor is great. She's still who I use today, as of this recording. August 2019. She's gonna stay forever. I had this great new realtor and she's really the one that saved this deal for me. So usually back in the day, back before the market got hot, I could go on MLS, find a house within probably 2 or 3 weeks, bid a little bit, pick one up. I had to do a lot of bids to usually get one, you know, when I was really tight, but these days it was getting a little bit harder. So a few weeks had gone by and I went back to my list, or rather my realtor went back to my list and picked out some of the houses that we had skipped on and said, hey, maybe you should take another look at these. Okay, so I talk a lot of smack about realtors because most of them are just order takers. This is where my realtor really came through for me. She provided a ton of value. She sends me an email and she says, hey, look, here's 6 of the houses that we passed over the last month or so, and I think we should look at again. I ran comps on all of them. She ran rental comps on all of them. She, you know, sent me a little spreadsheet with the days on market, all this other stuff, and she says, here, these are a few I think you missed, and, you know, reanalyze them. We agreed on one house. This house I was not that excited about, but man, she was so confident. And if you got a realtor there, a great realtor, and she's confident, or he is confident about the deal, you know, it might be worth listening to him. Might be worth listening to him. In this case, it was. I looked at this deal. I think it was 54, 55, I forget. The numbers are on my website, brokersofchoice.com. I'll link it in the show notes. The house a little more than I wanted to pay by probably 5 or 6 grand. Not a screaming massive difference, but you know, 5, 6 grand on a $50,000 house is 10%. That makes a big difference. This is what I was talking about the last deal. You get profitable, you get good, you get streamlined, you get cocky. And so $5,000, $6,000, like I just said, it doesn't seem like much. Well, you know, it matters, man. And it's important to make sure that you keep your bearings when you buy these houses quick, that you don't get wrapped up into that ego. I think I said that was my last deal, my last video. Ego is the enemy. So I really wanted to stay tight, but man, my realtor, she was so assured of this deal. I couldn't resist, man. So we go back and forth and I said, house is probably worth 85 on a good day. She says 90, 95 on a good day. I didn't believe it, but I knew the deal would work on 80 grand. So I paid I think we ended up paying 55. So I paid a little more than I wanted, and I knew the ARV was gonna be a little less than I thought it was gonna be. But again, the point here is, you know, I wanted to rely on the realtor to show her that if she makes good decisions and she points me in the right direction and she helps me make money, then I will absolutely believe in her suggestions. So I went along with this deal that I thought was going to be tight on the conservative side, but I knew I'd still make money with hopes of a big upside in an effort to invest into my realtor's, you know, into that relationship to make sure she knew that I believed in her. Well, did it work? Oh, fucking course it worked. I wouldn't be here telling you if it was, I wouldn't be bragging about it if it didn't work. I think we paid 55. The rehab was something small, like 12 grand. Again, the numbers are on the website. We were all in at 67, and I was hoping for a 90K RV, and it came in at a whopping 100 grand. Baby! So easy. I was astounded by this. I did not expect it to be that high. She actually was very confident that she was underestimating her ARV she was under promising over delivered. So she was, fantastically confident, and she had a great told you so towards me, which I think is fantastic. I was a little worried also because the rehab was light, $12,000 rehab on a $55,000 house. What appraiser is going to give you an extra 30 something grand on top of that? So those things really added towards my worry about the deal. But in the end, trusting in my team really paid off. The other thing we did was we had somebody at the appraisal. Like I said in the last video, you got to have somebody at the appraisal, and they had a little book, and we gave the book to the appraiser, and it's a little binder, a 3-ring binder, and it's got, I don't know, 5 or 6 pieces of paper in there, and it's pictures for before and afters. It's a scope of work of what we did. It's what we recommend the comps they should use and what they are. And, we have somebody there to be on the charm offensive. I've talked about this before. It's imperative that you have somebody at the appraisal to be on charm offensive. The house rented in about a week for $950 a month, all in at $67. I can't believe it. I did it 100% passive. I never saw the house. I don't think I've still seen the house. It's been a year and a half now. I've never seen that house. It cash flows. I had refinanced it immediately. I think the whole process took me 11 weeks, which compared to the last one was long. And I have all my money back, a cash flow and asset, 25% equity. It was done across the country, so it's completely passive. If you know a better way to make money, please let me know. Lessons from this deal. Always be finding new people. I hate to say that because I love my team, and you should love yours too, but you should always have somebody on the backup, or at least be building a relationship on the side. I know that sounds sleazy. To make sure that if the person that you're relying on if they're a single point of failure and they fail, you have someone else. The realtor I had before was fantastic. She was an investor-friendly realtor. She was a foreclosure expert. She helped me get my first foreclosure. I loved that chick, but one day she just starts going ghost. And when you're trying to buy houses and you're trying to compete in this market and you're trying to, go fast, ghost is not an option. So I was like, what's the deal? Can't get a call back, can't get a text back. And then I see her on Facebook doing her personal stuff. Completely fine. I'm also intolerable, so I don't blame when people don't want to deal with me. But I had to move on. And that's exactly what might happen to you. You're going to go off, you're going to do business, everything's going to be good, and then one day things fall apart and you got nobody. You got to always be ready to grow out or outgrow the people you have. Always be ready to outgrow the people you have now. Lesson number 2, if you have people and you want them to believe in you, you have to believe in them and then put your money on them to show it. So let me rant here for a second. In my head, I overpaid for this property. I thought it was worth 47, 48. I paid 55. I didn't want to pay 55 for this house. So in my head, I overpaid. I thought the ARV was going to be low. But what I wanted to do, my realtor was so confident. It was the first deal we had done, and I knew that I could afford a hiccup. This is not a good money strategy. This is a good people strategy, and people are worth way more than money. So I knew the deal was going to be tight on paper, but my realtor, man, she was so confident. And she's like, you got to do the location's good. It's going to go up in value. It's going to rent fast, and you're underestimating it. And I know the market well. And I know she knows the market well, but I knew it too. So my arrogance kind of didn't really let me, it kind of got me in the way of her. But I said, look, I know that it's grossly important for me to show this person that I don't just say that I trust them, but that I'll actually put my money on their decisions. And this really makes a big difference. And so I said, look, I can afford to take a little bit of a loss on, overpaying, and if the ARV is tight, and I'll still get out okay. I'll still make money, but I won't make as much. And I'm willing to make that sacrifice to try this, both for my own efforts to know that this kind of strategy and investment in people will work when you do it right. And also for her going forward, she'll know, man, Alex trusts me with his, cold hard cash. I better do right by him. And this really made a difference. When the ARV came in so high, I'm sure she felt good, I felt good, and now I know that I have a partner I can rely on going forward for the long haul. So it's important that when you're developing a team that you don't just expect everything from them to make you money, but also that you put, your risk on the line on their decisions so that they can feel empowered to both grow, to help you, and, that kind of stress about if you're going to make money or not when it's combined with people. It really helps develop a good business bonding relationship. So the key here is to find people that have aligned goals as you. That's what I always say. You got to find people that have aligned goals. I really believe in this. What I do is I take that idea, and I invest heavily in people, always invest in people. And it has proved to work out in my favor in the long run, and I continue to do so, and I believe that will continue to be part of my success going forward, and I think it will be for yours if you do the same. Okay, so in the beginning I told you that I had forgotten the first rule of real estate, and I was too heavily relying on the second rule of real estate. What's the second rule of real estate? You make money when you buy. The numbers. That's the second rule. And so I was looking at these numbers and I said, man, it's just, I don't know, it's too tight. But on paper, it was maybe too tight, but I was underestimating that the building itself was in a fantastic part of town that was growing. It's not where any of my other assets are, it's not where any of my other properties are. Close, but not the same zip code, not the same town. And so I didn't think it made that much of a difference, and it really did. And why? Because the first rule of real estate is location, location, location. I don't know if you've heard this before. And it's very common for people on the internet to forget this, because you buy a house across the country and you see it and you look at the numbers, you're like, man, this thing hits the 2% rule. It's done. It's gotta be a moneymaker. Let's go, boys. Buy that thing. And then you get there and you find out there's a freaking, a gang leader living next door. Location matters. You can buy a 2% deal, but if you paid 30 grand for it and it rents for 600, it's going to be a travesty. If you buy a 1% deal and it's a $150,000 place that rents for $150,000 and it's an up and coming growing area, the cash flow might not look as lucrative on paper, but the stability and the appreciation of the long haul are going to vastly outweigh whatever small short-term cash flow you can make. So, location, location, location. I'm not the first person to tell you this, but I forgot it. I'm lucky I got out of this deal. In fact, the location is the only thing that saved me on this deal. And I know that a lot of people, especially people that learn on the internet, they forget this rule all the time and they rely on just the numbers. And it's not a numbers game, man. It's not just a numbers game. Location really matters. Okay, last lesson I learned from this deal was don't wait for a perfect deal. Get a good deal. Never buy a bad deal, but don't wait for a perfect deal. This is so common. Analysis paralysis, waiting around for unicorns, all this stuff. Man, this deal wasn't perfect. I knew it wasn't perfect. In fact, I was apprehensive about it going through. The last deal wasn't perfect, and yet they both make money now, net. They both make a bunch of money. I got a bunch of equity. And so the way I always explain it is, man, I only made 25 grand instead of 30. Well, this one I made 30 grand. I could have made 35. Like, how long do I want to sit around waiting for the $35,000 deal instead of the $30,000 deal? One deal, no matter how good it is never going to change your life. So don't wait around for the perfect deal. Get one that's good. I'm not advocating to get a deal that doesn't make money. Always make sure it cash flows. But buy a deal that makes money and then worry about getting the next deal, because it's the volume, it's the scale, it's the experience and the understanding and the ability that you're working on, not just one deal so I can retire. It's never going to work that way. So don't wait around for the perfect deal. Get a good one and then plan to get 10 of them. All right, friends, that was deal number 6. Thank you for watching. I have 2 more of these coming up for the series. I'm so grateful you've watched all the way through. If you want to know more, you can go to brokersofchoice.com, and I have the HUD and all the numbers, everything on there, and I'll link to that in the show notes. Stay tuned for the next few episodes. Thank you for watching.